What's up, everybody? I hope you are doing well today. This video is going to cover the Terror Knight, some builds for them for newer people to the game, new players. These builds are mostly going to be ones that are available in the main story. There's no like post-game, in-game, super meta builds here. This is more, like I said, geared towards new players, giving them ideas on how to set up the class, ideas on what it can and can't do, and just general strategies for the builds and why you do them. So, Terror Knight is one of my favorite classes in the game. It is just so good, and you get it pretty much Chapter 2, early Chapter 2, late Chapter 1, and it is just the best, if not one of the best classes in the game, just because of Fear. Fear is super strong, super powerful. Now, I like to run a two-hander on both of my Terror Knights. You could go with a one-handed and a shield. I've even heard of some people using crossbows on them. I mean, hey man, if you want to use crossbows, go right ahead, I guess. They like to do chip damage, I guess, from a distance and stuff. But then I just find you're taking up 2 slots here. And I'm going to tell you right now, you need more than 4 slots on this class. Like, 4 is pushing it. You got to make cuts for 4. So if I'm using, swords or whatever in a crossbow, then you're losing out on another skill. So I don't know. I don't know why you want to run crossbows. I feel like you're not really taking advantage of the class, and you're forfeiting a skill slot to run bows too. So I don't know. But I mean, hey, if you want to run crossbows, but I wouldn't recommend it, at least early on in the game, because your skill slots are so important. Now, what makes the Terror Knight amazing, and what I find is the strongest, are these skills here. Fearful Impact causes melee weapons to hit with 100% accuracy and always frighten. And that's only a 25 MP, by the way. That's only a 25. So you might notice I have spells up here, which, these are good. Like HP Drain or Drain Heart is really nice. And I have the Drain Mind, which some people argue is kind of wasteful for the MP cost, because you gain like 15 MP when you do it, or maybe 20. But honestly, I don't use Drain Mind for that. If I ever use it, it's when I notice an enemy has enough MP to do a finisher or like a strong attack or something, and I kind of deny that for a turn, basically. Not the most useful thing, more very situational, but I would use Drain Heart the most out of anything, and then we got some debuffs, but, these cost 30, 20, 20, 30 MP. Honestly, I would just use this all the time. Fearful Impact whenever I could. So I'm always getting frightened on the enemy. Like, 25 MP, you'll probably have that every other turn with the Terror Knight. You might even have it every turn, depending on what's going on, like if you're getting smacked around, if you're smacking units. And this is the bread and butter. And then Landing of the Dead, auto skill, you have a chance of success that increases with rank of the skill. So this is rank 3, so it has a pretty good chance of success, and it'll frighten enemy units within 2 tiles. So it's basically an AoE frighten around the Terror Knight. So with these two, you're pretty much set. You gotta have these. If you're not using Fear on the Terror Knight, I don't even know why you're using the Terror Knight, you know what I mean? And I like to have Constitution because more HP, to make him able to take some more hits. I get an extra 246 HP here, which to me is considerable. Now, you could swap it out. You can go Rampart. I've had my Terror Knight be a frontline line holder, kind of like a Knight or other frontline units with Rampart aura. It's very nice, very good to have, because it prevents units from moving past you within a tile around you. Front, back, rear, all that. Well, 2 tiles. But I don't find it. 1 tile from the front, 2 tiles from the side. I'm sorry. But I don't find it to be. Then I got to give up HP and I don't know. You could do that, and you could also run Steadfast, which gives immunity to knockback if you're playing like in the Palace of the Dead, or you're playing on maps that have pitfalls and drops. To avoid getting your dude knocked back into that, this could be useful. But like I said, you don't really have a lot of room to play around. Like, you got to have a weapon skill. And then you got your 2 fears. Really, this is like the only one you can really move. The only skill that you can move out. I mean, and what else would you run? I mean, Dispel Shadow Break's silly. Concentration is even more silly. Unless you're having a Spellcaster Terror Knight, I guess. But I think you could find better units to cast spells. And then, the enemies don't really make shadows. So, Dispel Shadow's kind of silly, too. So, I mean, you could run Pincer Attack for a while, especially early on. You won't get Steadfast till way later. you'll pretty much start with Lambent of the Dead and Fearful Impact right out the gate. You get Dispel, you get Shadow Break later. But yeah, man, he's just there to terrify everything. Just use this as much as possible. Be right next to units. Hope Lambent of the Dead procs, and you are good. Give him a good two-hander. As you can see, I have the Breach two-hander, which Claymore +1, by the way. So inflicting Breach on people is very good for me. So, you know, we got him set up with that. And then I do have a second one, which I do sometimes use. Pretty much the same setup. It is the same setup, except I got two-handed axes, and I don't believe this axe is anything special. Yeah, this axe is nothing special. But I like Instill Shadow and Pair. I just got slightly different skills just to mix it up, because I don't want to have like a carbon copy of the same unit. But I don't always use... I sometimes was using 2 Terror Knights, like in Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, and then I kind of fell off, and I don't really use this one as much. But let me tell you, if you don't run a Terror Knight, especially like early game, like I can understand, like, you know, there's so many units, you know, we're in post game, we're in Palace of the Dead, we're in CODA, you know, we're doing all this fun stuff after we beat the storyline, and you don't really have any units that you want to put in that would be a Terror Knight. I can understand, but early on and when you get access to them, they're just so good. I mean, they're good throughout the whole game. Fear is always useful. I think it's one of the best debuffs in the entire game, and this is kind of like what you should do for a build. I mean, definitely make sure you're using your Fear skills, because that is the Terror Knight's bread and butter. And then, like I said, you can swap out stuff around a little bit, not too much though, because you don't really have a lot of room to work with. I wish you could have 5 skills, especially on the Terror Knight. But yeah, that's kind of just some ideas of what to run on him, in case you're new to the game and you don't know. I'd be curious to hear what you guys say. I know there's going to be somebody out there that doesn't run Fear on it, for whatever reason. Please tell me why. Why do you not use Fear skills on your Terror Knight? What do you guys build? What do you guys like on your Terror Knight? Do you even use the Terror Knight? Do you find it to be not as good later on? I can't understand why you wouldn't want Fear, but I can understand you got to make unit cuts for your party, and, you know, you got all your... You got your Ozmas and your Liches and your, you know... Oh, man, you're just all these in-game units, you know, you can't have room for a little Terror Knight, so... But let me know, guys, down below what you think, what you use, what your builds are. I would love to hear them. I would love to gain some insight. Maybe I'll change up some of mine, you know, just share some ideas. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and until then, I will see you in the next one. Later, guys. Peace.